لله رب العالمين.
Shukran, Imam C. Bishop, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairman. Lord God, Jehovah, Lord God, Jehovah, Lord God, Jehovah, the great I am that I am, the King of kings and the Lord of lords, the one who creates all things, the one who rules over the universe and all your creatures. We call upon you this morning hour. Here, Spirit will be with us, be with all the witnesses that will testify here. And we ask that they will testify to the truth, and that you will grant the commissioners and the TRRC the wisdom to be able to discern between falsehood and truth. And at the same time, we continue to ask that you continue to reconcile the people of this nation. Continue to bring healing to the people of this land. And make this land, as we are known to be the smiling coast, to be an ever-smiling nation, so that everyone will be happy, everyone will be at peace, and your judgment will reign within us. This we ask through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Bishop. Council, are we ready with today's witness? You have the floor, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners. And good morning, everyone. Obi Van, can we please have the witness on the screen? Good morning, Madam Witness.
Good morning, Council.
As you already know, my name is Mariama Singate, and I will be questioning you on behalf of the Commission today.
Okay, thank you, Mariama.
Thank you. Before we start, I'll just like to administer the affirmation to you. So you repeat after me. I state your name.
Sarata jabbi.
Do affirm that.
Do affirm that.
I will speak the whole truth.
I will speak the whole truth.
And nothing but the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Just before we start, I'd just like to go over certain rules that will help smoothen this process for us. There is simultaneous interpretation going on, so I'll ask that you speak slowly and you speak clearly so that the interpreters get all that you're saying. I'll also ask that you allow 3 seconds to lapse after I've asked the question before you answer it, so as to get a better understanding of ourselves. The topics I'd like to discuss with you today are: first, your biographical detail, for us to know who you are; then your career as a journalist; your arrest and detention at mile 2; and finally we'll deal with the impact of your arrest and detention on you and your family.
Thank you.
Can we start now?
Sure.
Can you please tell us your full names?
My name is Sarata jabbi.
Sarata, where are you currently residing?
I'm currently residing in Birmingham, United Kingdom.
When and where were you born?
I was born in Versailles, in URR.
Can you please give us the dates?
26 July 1983.
When and where did you attain your primary and secondary education? I
attended my primary school. I first started at Brikama Primary, and this was 9-1. I did my primary one there in Western region, and then transferred to Brikama Primary School in CRR, where I did my primary 2 to primary 6. Then later proceeded to Brikama Senior Secondary. Then sat my grade 9 examination. From there, I proceeded to Muslim High School in Banjul from 1999 to 2002.
After your secondary education, what did you do?
Immediately I finished my secondary school, I would say my high school rather. That was the time I joined the Point newspaper.
Did you have any prior training as a journalist before you joined the Point newspaper?
No.
What motivated you to join the Point newspaper?
Since my childhood time, I'm a type of person that always want to know what's around me. I was kind of a bit curious. I always wanted to know what's going around me. And during my school days as well, I would engage in quiz competition and debate as well. So when I was at Muslim high school, I was part of this Young Writers Club. And seeing people, journalists, people like Amisila, Ami Bojan Sisoho, I feel like these women were doing a great job in our community, in our nation, I would say. So I feel like I could join the field in order for me also to contribute my quota.
Can you please tell us the year you joined the Point newspaper?
This was in 2002. It all happens when I was living with my sister, and there was this boy that was under my sister's care. He always come home with newspaper, always read. And there was a day I asked him, where do you usually get these papers from? He said to me, my brother normally give it to me, and he was working at the Point newspaper by the name Sana Jawa. So I told this boy that, could you kindly ask your brother if their paper is recruiting, because I definitely want to join the media to work. Then after this, he told me that, I asked my brother, he said, you can come to the office and ask for the data. So the following morning, I went to the Point newspaper and asked for data. One of the reporters went to the data's office and informed Dada that someone was looking for him. So later on, the guy came back and told me, Mr. is ready to see you. So I went into his office, I greeted him, and then he welcomed me and asked me to take a seat. And then he said to me, how may I help you? I said to him, I want a job. And he said to me, you want a job? I said, yes. And then he smiled. He said, he asked for my details and my educational background, and I told him that I just graduated from Muslim high school. And he said to me, okay. So we had a bit of conversation. From there, he asked me to write down all the conversation we had. Then, which I did, I wrote everything, every bit of it. I didn't leave anything out. After I gave it to him, and then he read it and told me that you have a very good memory. I think this is a good quality for becoming a journalist. Yeah, you have a very good memory. And from there, he called one of the senior reporters, Momodu Justice Dabo, and introduced us. And he instructed Momodu Justice Dabo to train me, guide me in news writing. And then I went to the newsroom with Momodu Justice Dabo. He told me a few things about news writing. Then he asked me to follow in the then that's how I started. Usually, whenever he's editing or writing stories, he will ask me to come sit by him, and that's how I was going till he got so busy. One of the reporters by the name Mudu Sanyang, he's late now, then took over to train me. I used to go to the course with Mudu Sanyang. He trained me how to write court stories. So that's it.
Who was Deda Haidara?
Deda was the managing co-founder and the managing editor of the Point newspaper.
You've already told us that you were also writing court stories, that is reporting with respect to the courts. What else were you doing when you started with the Point newspaper?
Later on, Deda gave me a column, PCC, which normally comes every Friday. It's a women column. So I was given that role to concentrate on writing about women's issue. I usually do interviews and write articles that empowers women. And anytime there is any program in relating to women's issue, that will give me the invitation. So, yeah, that was it.
Can you please give us a brief background of your career progression till the time you left?
Like I told you before, I started at the Point newspaper as a trainee reporter, and from there I then contested at GPU's Congress in 2008, where I was voted as the first vice president of the union. So from there and until 2008, when I was elected as the first vice president of the union, and from there I was serving that position until we were prosecuted and sent to jail. That was my career. That was the role I was holding, that working at the Point newspaper as well as at the GPU. A GPU is not like a paid work; it was like a volunteering one. So that was it until when I traveled to England.
Thank you very much. We have received evidence of the state attacking the freedom of the press by violating the rights of journalists. You've already told us that you were persecuted in 2008. Aside from your personal persecution, during the time that you were a journalist, can you please tell us if you have witnessed or heard of any persecutions of journalists?
I was harassed directly, but I've heard of stories of other people who have been attacked, who have been arrested, tortured, and detained. People like Deda himself, he has been questioned many times. People like Alaji Yoro, people like Madi Sise, Musa Sedikan, and Chief Mane. Everybody knows how his story was. He disappeared. So honestly, I've never been harassed. I've never been tortured. But I've heard of stories of my colleagues who were harassed and tortured.
Do you know what happened to Deda Haidara?
Yeah.
Please tell us.
Deda was murdered.
Do you know how?
Yes. This was on the 16th of December. That was the anniversary of the Point paper. I could remember this morning when I went to work, he was dressed so smartly, and he was just like an uncle to me. He was very open to me, you know. He keeps teasing himself. I used to tease him, and when I saw him, he was dressed smartly and he cut his hair. I told him in one of Mr. Yangi nights, then he said to me, I'm under 18, you know, so we both laughed, and he went to his office, and from there we had some visitors that came to the Point. We had some pictures, and the preparation was going on for the evening party. So I was writing my story for the Friday publication for my women column CCC. So later I left. I told them that I have a headache, I can't attend the party. I left and went home. So early morning, I received a call from one reporter called Mama Jane. She was GRS. Called me and said to me, Sarata, in Wolof, fan la dëj bi nekk. I said to her,
Can you please translate that in
bandage.
English?
She said to me, where is the funeral taking place? I said to her, what funeral? And she started crying. I said, Mama, what funeral are you talking about? She said, Uncle Daida. I said, Uncle Daida? She said, yes. I said, what happened? She said to me, Uncle Daida is dead. I said, what? I said to her, I was with Daida last night in the evening, right? I was with him. He wasn't sick. Then Mama told me that, no, I heard that he was shot. Then I hung up the phone. I called one of the reporters, I can't remember now, and they confirmed to me that yes, Dada was shot last night, and the body is at the mortuary. So you have to come, or you have to come at the point for us to go together, or you can take a van, come to Banjul. So I went to Banjul at the mortuary. We were allowed to go in to see Dada lying in a pool of blood. So that was it.
Can you please tell us in what state his body was in? You said you went in and saw him. Can you please tell us in what state his body was in?
He was wrapped in white clothes, but that cloth was it's got a stain of blood on his forehead, on the chest, and on his tummy as well.
Can you please tell us what impact Dada Haidara's death had on you and your colleagues?
It has a big impact on us, especially myself. Like I said it before, Dada was like an uncle to me. He has given me all the opportunities to become a good journalist, train me, and whatever I have today in terms of media and reporting skills. I would like to thank Dada for that, because he gave me the opportunity. Imagine walking to someone's office with no qualification at all. He had the belief in me and gave me the opportunity, and he doesn't know me from anywhere. I've never set my eye on him. That was the first time I saw Dada. We were not family friends. He doesn't know any of my family members. But being a guy who who's got a great heart in empowering women and young people, Dada was indeed a great man to me, and his loss has created a great vacuum.
You said Dada Haidara was murdered. Can you please tell us who you think was responsible for his murder?
The government.
Why do you think the government was responsible for his murder?
Because during that time there was this media laws thing that was going on, and Dada was a brave man that would never relent whatever he wanted to achieve as far as the safety and welfare of the journalists is concerned. So, and for the fact that he was having this column called Good Morning, Mr. President and Tit Bite, he was so critical of the government. When I say critical, I don't mean to be critical in anyhow, but wherever anything that is unlawful happens, Dada ways so to address it. He was kind of like a voice for the voiceless. So, and he has been questioned on several times, and obviously when the murder happened, everybody thinks it is the government, and that's my own belief, and up till now that's my belief. I believe it is the government, because since he was murdered, we started to put his picture on the front page of the Point newspaper, saying who killed Dada Hydra. We keep on asking, and that doesn't go well with the president. So if he wasn't responsible, I don't think he should be that slogan should stop him.
And how do you know that the slogan "Who killed Data" was disturbing the president?
Because he said it in one of his interviews. He said every time journalist keeps asking who killed Data, who killed Data. If they want to know who killed Data, let them go to Data's graveyard and ask him who killed him.
Can you please tell us about that particular interview? What led to that interview?
This was done by Keba Diba, the late Keba Diba of TRRC. And actually, I didn't watch it that very day until when I heard about it. So in the interview, he spoke inappropriately about Data. So our colleagues, Buya Jame, contacted her. So her story. So from there, and Data contacted all the executive members, and we discussed it among ourselves, and we to publish a press release. And the press release was actually authored by Data Source. She was the then president of the Gambia Press Union. It was an agreement between all of us.
When was this? What year was it?
This was in 2008.
Do you remember the contents of that press release?
I don't remember it because it's been a while, but basically the press release was just to condemn that speech the former president made today. It wasn't like attacking him directly, but just to make so we were kind of exercising our rights as the journalist body, because we feel like it is our duties and responsibility to make so that all the journalists, anytime any journalist is into trouble or any other thing, we should stand up for them. And they have been a very brave and head of the Point newspaper, and he has contributed a lot in the press freedom of the Gambia. We think it was our duties to make sure that we make a stop to that, because that was not the first time. So we cannot just sit down and watch anybody talking bad things.
You said the press release was authored by Ndatafa Sose. Did any of the group, as you, GPU executives, did you contribute in any way to that press release?
When they authored the press release, she sent it to the media chiefs and seek for advices. So they did some of the editing, and from there she sent it to all of us to have a look. So I personally didn't edit anything and I didn't contribute anything, but after reading it, I was so impressed about what's on that press release. So I agreed to it, and then I emailed her back and said to her, yes, that's fine by me. And I believe that's how my other colleagues did.
What did you do with respect to the press release?
All I did was to read the press release. After reading it, and then I emailed Ndatafa and told her that I've agreed with the piece, we can go ahead with it.
And what did go ahead with it entail?
Means we can send it to the media houses for publication.
Which media houses did you send it to for publication?
It went to Poroya newspaper and The Point.
As a result of that press release, did anything happen?
Yes.
Can you please tell us about it?
When the press release was published on a Foroya newspaper on a Friday, I think it was on the 12th of June. Then Saturday, Sunday, the Point newspaper also published it. That was on Monday, the 15th of June. After the publication, at around 10 or half 10, I received a call from someone who identified himself. Sorry, he didn't identify himself actually, but he told that he was calling from the office of the president. I said to him, "Who are you?" He said, "I'm calling from the office of the president." Then at first I told him that I'm not Sarata, I'm Sarata's sister. He said to me, "Why Sarata?" I said, "Sarata is out." And he said to me, "Okay, when she comes back, tell her that she is wanted at the office of the president." Then after some minutes, he called back. I said, "Is Sarata back?" Then I said to him, "Yes, Sarata speaking." He said to me, "I called earlier on, I was told that you went out." I said to him, "Yes." He said, "Okay, I'm calling from the office of the president. You are wanted." I said to him, "Why am I at the office of the president?" He said to me, "When you arrive here, I will tell you." As soon as I hung up the phone with him, I received a call from Ibrahim Sawane of the Point newspaper. He said to me, "Point." I asked why. He said, "Because we are wanted at the office, not at the office rather, we are wanted at the NIA." I said to him, "Okay, I'm coming." With Ibrahim, Emil Toure, the Secretary General of GPU, called me as well and asked me to come. So this all happens within, I think, between 10 and 15 minutes. Then I took my baby because I was in my room that time. Then I took my baby. I went to my mother-in-law's room and told her that I received a call from an unknown person who told me that he was calling at the office of the president, and he said, "I'm wanted at the office of the president." And my mother-in-law was very worried. She said to me, "What happened?" I said, "I don't know what happened, but I think it might be in connection to the press release." She said, what press release? I told her that, "Anyway, I will keep you posted when I get there." So I left her with my baby.
Sorry, just a few points of clarification before we move further. You received a call telling you that you are needed at the office of the president.
Yes.
And you received another call from your colleague Ibrahim Sawane and Emil Toure saying that you're needed at the NIA.
Yes.
The two are a bit different. One is that you're needed at the office of the president, and the ones from your colleagues are telling you that it's the NIA.
Yes.
At this point, what were you thinking?
I believe what my colleagues told me. Yeah, I believe what they told me because Ibrahim said to me, "We were wanted at the NIA." The same email told me when they came at the GPU, whilst Ibrahim was at the point. So I have the feeling that the guy that called me was not giving me the correct information, or probably I was wanted at the State House. I don't know. But that's what he told me. He said, I'm calling from the president wanted.
Where did you go after that call?
After that, I went to the Point newspaper. That's where I met Emil and Pap Sen and Ibrahim Sawane.
Go ahead.
Yes, when I arrived at the Point newspaper, Paps told me that, did you receive any call? I said, yes. He said, who called you? I said, well, he didn't introduce himself. He just told me that he was calling from the office of the president. So he said to me, anyway, we are wanted for questioning at the NIA. So we all boarded on Pap's car, then went to the NIA headquarters in Bandung.
Sorry. Upon arrival at the NIA office, what did you do?
Upon our arrival, we went to the reception where they register us, took our details. Then we were taken to one of the buildings. There is a big building. So we went there and we were seated there waiting for the officials to come. So we waited for some time. One of the officers called Lamin Dabo. He said to me, I called you and you were pretending that you were not Sarata. Then I smiled. I said, well, that wasn't me. And he said to me, I know because you were scared. I said, no, that wasn't me. He said, anyway, I was the one that called you. That was the time I knew who called me. Then from there, one officer by the name Idrissa Job, but people called him Alaji Moore Job. Yeah, Alaji Moore Job called me in one of the offices and said to me, we want you to log into your email because we want to know the conversation you had with Data Source. So I logged into my email, and he said to me, go through everything, all the conversation you had with Data. So I opened that particular email, and he saw the conversation.
Can you tell us what the nature of the conversation was?
The conversation was about the press release. This was when they emailed me to inform me that we should make a press release to condemn the president's interview and to condemn what the president said about data. And I said to her, okay. She said to me, I've contacted others. It means the other executive members, I've contacted them. I said to her, okay. And then she sent me the press release. Then I read the press release and I told her that, yes, I agree with you, but today I think this may lead to something else. So then they said to me, yes, but we have to. Then I said to her, yes, we have to. That was just my opinion because obviously I know how the president was. He doesn't like anybody, challenging him. So I told them, I think this may lead. I was just assuming. That was an assumption. Yeah. So when this guy, Alaji Moore, saw that, he said to me, so you knew that this may lead to something else, but you still went ahead to associate yourself with it. I said, yes. He said to me, why? I said, because it is my duty and responsibility. I have to. And then he said to me in Wolof, you talk Mali ak domam, you yaa ngi amee doom, you kind of associating yourself with her troubles. I said to him, well, I don't see anything wrong with this. He said, then why did you say this may lead to something else? I said to him, well, I was just assuming. Then I kept quiet because I wanted to tell him that the reason I said to him that this may lead to something else is that because the president doesn't want anybody challenging him. But I couldn't tell him that because, hearing all sorts of things, bad things happening at the NIA, I wouldn't be that brave enough to tell him that. And the way he was approaching me, I didn't say anything to him. I just kept quiet.
In what tone or manner was he speaking to you at this time?
His tone was not. It was not nice. He was kind of like a bit harsh on me. He sounded as if the issue was between us and him. He took things personal.
You told us that at this point he told you that Naitafa is sitting in Mali and you are here with your baby. So at this point he already knew that you had a baby with you, right?
Yes.
And how old was your baby?
Baby was 6 months, yeah.
Sorry, can you repeat it?
My baby was 6.
Sorry, I missed it again because the line was breaking.
I say my baby just turned 7 months by then.
At what time did you arrive at the NIA that day?
I arrived. This was in the afternoon. That was the time we arrived there. I think I'm not too sure. It was in the.
Would you say it was after lunch or after prayers?
After lunch, yeah.
And what time will lunch be ready usually?
I think it was around 2. Yeah, around between 2 and 3, to be precise.
After looking into your email and telling you that Daitafa is seated in Mali and you are here with your child, what else happened?
I went out of the office to join my other colleagues. From there, we were taken to the conference hall. Yeah, and they took some statements from for Benture and Samsar. They refused to give statement.
At this point, how many of you were at the NIA?
When we arrived, it was 5. No, actually, it was myself, Papsen, by Emil Toure, and Ibrahim Sawane. Then after some time, I think either Pamodu joined in or Samsar and Abubakar Sedikan. I can't remember whether Pamodu first came or Sam and Abubakar. But when we were going there, it was 4 of us. Then later on, these other people joined, and it became 7 of us.
Apart from looking into your email to check your conversations, did they tell you the reason why you were there at the NIA?
Yes, I was told by that guy, Joe. He said to me because of the press release, and he went to an extent that he was trying to persuade me, to write a letter to the president and to to apologize to him, and he was telling us that the president is a very good guy. He's clean-hearted, he's kind. Just try and write this letter, then he will pardon you. Well, we all said no to that. We stood on our grounds that we were not gonna write any apology letter because we didn't think that we committed any crime.
After you refused to write an apology letter, did they release you?
No.
Can you tell us what happened?
We were there till in the evening, and they decided to give me a bail, and they said if I can call someone to come and bail me, but the person will submit his documents like travel document and other important documents, and the person must have a land and not to submit all the papers. So my father-in-law came to do all those things. He submitted all his necessary documents, and I was given the bail. That was around 7, if I could remember. Yeah, it was a bit dark by then. And Lamin Dabo drove me to my house, and he warned me not to call anyone, not to receive any calls. He warned me to switch off my phone, and it was like they were kind of hiding everything. So I have the feeling that they didn't want the state to know that they gave me a bail, but the bail was on a condition. They said I just have to go home, spend the night with my baby, and come back first thing in the morning, and I should not let anybody know.
Based on your previous testimony, it was put to a witness that you were detained at the NIA for 3 days. Now that you're telling us that you were bailed at 7 o'clock, it's clear
Yes.
now that you were not detained overnight at the NIA. Instead, you were bailed at 7 o'clock to be with your baby, right?
Yes, but I have to come back the following morning. It was as I always spend the whole of the day at the NIA, and then at night they will release me to go home and spend the night with my baby. Then the following morning, first thing, my family will drove me to the NIA. So that's why I believe they were kind of hiding something, which I don't know anyway.
At what time in the morning were you usually asked to report at the NIA?
Very early, around between 7 and 8. I always have to be there before business starts.
Did you write a statement with respect to what happened?
Can you come again, please?
Were you asked to write a statement at any point?
Yes.
And when was this?
This was the first day when we went to the NIA.
Was the statement related to the apology, or was it like a different statement?
It was a different statement.
Were you charged with any offense on the first day?
No.
Do you know the reason why they asked you to write a statement?
Yes.
Can you please tell us?
It was in connection to the press release we did. So obviously they had to ask us our statement. So they took everybody's statement except Evil and Samsar.
And why were they exempted from this?
Because they refused to give a statement.
You going back and forth from the NIA to your house, how long did that last?
That was from Monday till Thursday when we were taken to court.
Can you please tell us about the time you were taken to the courts?
We were taken to Carnifing Magistrates Court on Thursday evening. This was, I think, around 6. Anyway, by then business has closed, so that was the time they took us to the court, and it was kind of like smuggling us to the court. They didn't want people to know, but to our surprise, when we arrived there, we met some of our colleagues and friends and family members there. So we were the case before a magistrate, Senabu Wada Sise, and they asked us to. That was the time they told us the charges. We were charged for sedition and defamation. Then we were asked a plea. We all said we cannot take a plea. We need our lawyers to be there. And then later on, Senabu Wada gave me a bail because of my baby. She said I can go home because I was having a baby. I can go home and sleep with my and be with my baby rather. Then she sent my colleagues to remand in Mile 2. Then the DPP strongly object to that. And they overrule his objection. And then I went my sister to my surprise, early morning on Friday, I was informed that I should go to the house in Banjul. They said sorry.
My apologies. The line was breaking as you were speaking. We stopped at a point where you said the DPP objected to your bill and it was overruled.
Yes.
Can you please start from there?
Yes. When his turn was over, I went home. My colleagues were to run into. Then that was on a Friday. The morning I got a call. I was in go to Banjul. They said the case has been transferred from Carnifing to Banjul. Then I went to Banjul with my family members, where I met my colleagues, the 6 of them. So the case was before, I think, Justice Wu, if I could remember. Then they read the charges to us, and my bail was set remand that Friday with my colleagues.
My apologies again. The line was breaking at the time you were speaking. You said they read the charges to you, and then
Yes.
they remanded you at Mile 2, and your baby was with you. That's where we stopped. Can you please continue from there?
Yes, so when we went to remand that Friday, and my lawyer, Lamin Kamara, was at the court. By then, he tried to convince the judge that I was a breastfeeding mother. And I don't know what other things he did, but then I spent about first hour, and he came in to tell me that I've been granted another bail.
As at the time you were sent to Mile 2 remand, were you with your baby?
Yes.
Did the baby enter the prison?
Yes.
Was the baby with you when you entered the remand wing?
Yes.
For how long did you stay with the baby at the remand wing?
About 3 to 4 hours.
And what happened after that?
When lawyer Kamara came and informed me that I've been granted, so I went home. Then from there, I think the following week, that was on a Monday, my colleagues were granted.
Sorry, I just wanted to ask a question before you move further. As at the time you
Okay.
were at the remand wing with your baby, how did you feel?
I felt so devastated.
What was the atmosphere like at the remand wing the time you were there with the baby?
It was very bad. The atmosphere at the remand wing was so terrible because the size of the building was very small for the number of people that were there. And
Sorry, how many people were there?
it was rough about, I think, up to 10, if I could remember.
The side of the remand wing that you were at, was it the same as the men or was it separated?
It was separated.
So you were at the female side of the remand wing.
Yes.
So after you were granted bail to go home, what happened?
Yeah, then I went home, and after some days, I believe this was on the following Monday, my colleagues were also granted bail. So from there, we've been going to court every now and then for the proceedings.
You mean the trial?
Yes.
How long did that last?
I think it lasts for about, anyway, everything started in June, and we were sentenced in August, yes, August 6th. So it lasts for approximately about probably 1.5 months or less.
As at that time, the time you were going to court back and forth, how many children did you have then? Was it only the baby?
I have 2 by then.
And how old was your first child?
3.
You going back and forth from your house to the courtroom, did it have any toll on your family, your children, I mean?
Yes, it did.
Can you please tell us about it?
Yeah, because every time I'm going to court, I always go with my baby, and I have to wake up very early morning. You know, even if he's asleep, I have to wake him up. And whenever I woke up, my 3-year-old also will wake up. You know, and when I'm going, she will cry. She will want to follow me. I will take her. You know, so I always go with my baby and my family members. A very good moment for us. It was a bit hard. By then, my husband wasn't there, so it was a bit hard. But thank God, I had good family members and friends who supported me very well.
You said you were convicted in August 6th. Can you please tell us about that?
Yeah, we were convicted on 6th of August on 6 counts, and we were convicted for 2 years plus a fine.
Tell us about that day in the court, how it was like, the atmosphere in the court when you were sentenced.
That day, the court, you know, very full of people. People were there, people from the media houses, the friends of media, family members, friends, you know, and some dignitaries were all they all attended the judgment, and some opposition party leaders were also around, and officers, paramilitary officers were also around. They were going around. Some of them were armed. So it was kind of like the case, like I was like I usually say, it was as if we committed murder. You know what I mean? It was like a treason trial. You know.
You mentioned that your colleagues and family members were there. What kind of solidarity, if any, did you receive from the members of the GPU and other people?
Oh, we really had a very good support from them, from both GPU and the media fraternity and other media personnel from outside the Gambia and family members as well, because by then they was not there, but she had done everything possible to ensure that we didn't go to jail. Unfortunately, we had to, but she had made a lot of noise outside there. She had contacted everywhere. She has done all the possibility to ensure we have the support, and obviously we were well supported. We were so much supported, honestly.
So you were convicted and sentenced to serve 2 years and a fine at Mile 2. Did you serve the sentence?
Yes, we were sentenced to serve 2 years, but fortunately for us, and I would say through the help of outsiders, international organizations, we didn't spend that much. They spent 27 days. Then the 28th day was the day we were released.
You told us that you went with your baby on the day that you were convicted. What happened after the conviction was read and you were supposed to go to Mile 2? What happened to the baby?
I went with the baby. I went with him to Mile 2, and he went 2 nights and 3 days with me. Then later he was taken from me. Some people came and told me that they are from social, I think, so fair. They said they came to take my baby to the orphanage because he was not supposed to be there.
Can you please tell us about the nights that the baby spent with you in prison?
It was a very horrible night because the mattress was for one person. It's a single mattress. So I spent the night with my baby on that mattress. It was just a very tiny mattress. And the bed net was in a good condition. It's got some holes, and it was not big enough to prevent the mosquitoes coming in. I didn't sleep the whole of the night. I was fanning my baby. He didn't sleep because he was kind of mourning, and I tried to breastfeed him, but I was very hungry. So
at what time of the day did you enter Mile 2?
This was in the afternoon, I think around 3, because the judgment took about long hours, because when the judge started, before giving a verdict, he said to us he wanted to take a break. He needed to speak to someone, which we all believe was the president, or someone very close to the president. So he went in. It took him about an hour or 2, and he came out and gave the verdict. Then I think we went to Mile 2. This was around between half 2 or 3, or between 3 and half 3. I can't remember, honestly.
You've just told us that before the judge delivered the verdict, he went inside to talk to someone. Can you please tell us more about that?
Well, he said the court needs to excuse him. He needs someone. So he went back to his chambers. People were waiting for him for about an hour or half, or 1.5 hours. Then he came back. When he came back, he just did the ruling. That was it. I have no idea what he was talking about there, but I have the belief he was either talking to the president or someone very close to the president.
And what is this belief based on?
Because imagine being a judge, having heard from both the parties, the lawyers of the defendants and the accused and the DPP, everybody were waiting for you to make a judgment. All of a sudden, you just call it off and went into your chambers. And he said, I need to someone first. So that's why I have the belief that I might be speaking to the president or someone close to the president.
And did you think that particular time he spent inside talking to the person that you didn't know he was talking to, do you think that had any influence on the judgment?
Yes, I have that feeling that it's got influence on it, because I feel like probably he was instructed by that, before getting the verdict, he said he need to speak to someone. So obviously, that's what everybody would think, that he went to take an instruction from someone.
You mentioned that you entered mile 2 around 3 in the afternoon, and you also stated that you spent the entire night trying to flag the mosquitoes away from your child and that you were hungry. As at the time you entered mile 2, were you given any food?
Yes.
What food were you given?
Rice and domoda.
Were you able to eat the food?
No.
And why was that?
So I wasn't in the mood to eat, and even if I were in the mood, I wouldn't be able to swallow that food because softening.
My apologies. Can you please repeat what you said? You said you were not in the mood to eat the food, and even if you were in the mood,
I wouldn't be able to swallow the food due to the nature of the food.
You've told us about the mattress that you had to lie on and the mosquito net that was there. Can you please describe the cell for us?
Cell was like a big hole, and they put mattresses on top of the. Are you guys seeing me? I can't see. Okay. Sorry. So it was like a big. I wasn't seeing. Like a big hole, like when you entered, like they put mattresses on the floor, and each mattress is like a single one. So it was like everybody we get her own mattress. Because by then the convict, it was the wing and the convict. So the remand is where you'll be waiting until you've been done.
My apologies, Madam Sarata. We've been having several breakages as you were speaking. Can you please start again, just describing the cell?
Okay. This cell is just like a big hall, and they put mattresses on the floor. So each person would have one mattress to sleep on. It's a small size mattress. And because that place wasn't that full like remand, so everybody's got their own mattress. Well, in my case, it was different because I went with a baby, so it was like two of us had to share that small mattress, and it's got yeah.
It's got what? I didn't get that part clearly.
2 toilets.
How was the ventilation like?
It wasn't very good because the size of the hall, the cell, I would say, it's got only 2 windows.
You've told us about the first night you've spent at mile 2 with the baby. Can you please tell us about the second and the third night, or the day, throughout the day, what it was like for you